This is Lucy Batley. I am in the back end of Beyond, and I am going to be having a warts and all, no swearing if possible, conversation B with Anna Brand, the fantastic Anna Brand, and we are going to talk about, I don't know what we're going to talk about because you're going to ask me lots of questions, but we said that it would be open and honest. Can I just say before we start, actually, I don't like podcasts, as in, I was saying that I don't like being videoed, I don't like having my photograph taken, even though I've got quite a high profile on LinkedIn, I hate having my photograph taken. So I'm quite shy about that. Everyone thinks it's hilarious when I say I'm shy, but I am. I hide it, I mask it well. But it's a personal thing, I don't listen to podcasts.
Oh, so you don't listen to them? Oh, that's fine.
Like loads of people send them to me and I don't normally listen to them. I prefer reading.
Even though you used to do a podcast?
Yeah.
So you expected people to listen to your podcast?
Yeah. Shit. Found out already.
Just quickly tell us about your podcast that you did.
So we're just chatting about it. I was trying to work out when it is, 6-7 years ago. So it was with my very good friend Charlotte Windybank, and it was called Batley and Windybank. It's a serious business, and it was similar to this. It was to start up on. We used to have a joke about entrepreneurs because I hate the word entrepreneur. I always call myself a business owner, but yeah, it was kind of debunking sort of myths around business and trying to talk about things that people don't talk about, and kind of the trials and tribulations from two people who've set their own businesses up. And one of the key things was that we didn't know neither of us kind of knew what we were doing. I never grew up thinking I want to be my own business owner. I fell into it by accident, really.
What happened then?
So worked in London for a bit, and then worked abroad, and then came back and had a job. Funnily enough, I've just been back to work with him. I can tell you it is Gardner Richardson. So worked there for 18 months. It was great, but clashed with Darren. We're really good mates now, so I can say this. But yeah, I just thought you're a wanker, and I could do a better job than you. And then realised, and then I left and set up my first company, which was actually doing video production, but After Effects and Adobe Premiere, so not like this, more I could say like animating annual reports and doing mood boards and stuff. And after about a year, I started saying things that Darren was saying, and I realised that he wasn't a wanker. He was just stressed out of his eyeballs because running a business is stressful. So yeah, we're really good mates with him, and I've just done a job with him a couple of weeks ago actually, and I went, this is like Gladiator, the employee that became the founder, that became the supplier. So that was hilarious. So yeah, it's tough, which I'm sure we'll get onto, but running your own business is really, really tough. And I went into it, and I think I always struggled that I didn't have an MBA and I hadn't been taught how to run a business, and you just learn by trial and error, but it's that confidence bit, isn't it?
Yeah. It's so much, I just think that everybody, like you say, it's debunking all of the shit that people talk about, how to run a business and how to make 6 figures and how to make 7 figures, and actually all the people out there who are saying I work with this type of person who I work with 7-figure business owners, for example, when they've never worked with 7-figure
business owners. Does that include the .00, the pence?
And does that mean that you're making 7 figures, and what gives you the,
it's all pie, but I mean, and hype plays a role, doesn't it, in terms of publicity, and I'll spin a yarn on my post, my LinkedIn post, but the one I hate at the minute, all the scale up nonsense. It's like, I always joke that 20 years, because I'm really old, 20 years ago it was all let's focus on startups, the economy's knackered, let's focus on startups, oh shit, that's not working, let's focus on scale-ups, oh shit, that's not working, now whatever the new thing is, trickle down. My mate goes like this, goes Lucy, I'm waiting for the trickle down. got my trickle down. It's nonsense. Yeah,
That's why I'm pleased we've got video, because if anyone's not watching, you've got to watch it for that.
Yeah, I'm scaling up the amount of I can't remember what the growth figure is to be a proper scale up. It's not sustainable. You can do hockey stick fits and starts of that, but you'd burn out if you're constantly doing 200% returns every year. It's mental. And people are like obsessed with it. Countries are obsessed with growth. God, I'm going to get into politics straight away. It's obsessed with growth and making money. It's all about money. It's like, no. If you do something, I really believe if you do something that you're passionate about, the money will come. I mean, it sounds easier said than done, but yeah, a lot of nonsense. You're right, a lot of crap about running your own business. It's hard. Yeah,
it is. And obviously you've got all of the... Because what we hate is the whole cookie cutter marketing jargon that doesn't work for everybody. And starting a business in the first place, you know how obviously
ding
smacking things. I thought it was going to be better without having Max here, but I've just taken over his role. I forgot what I was saying now. Starting with a why, you know, purpose driven, and I am, and obviously I talk about that a lot, clearly in branding, but I think speaking to startups and driving down on the whole, you've got to have a purpose, and the startups are just thinking, well, I just want to make some money.
Yeah, so, there's a lot of that about. And that's the culture, isn't it? They all want to be influencers and da-da-da-da-da. Yeah. What's the next? I was thinking yesterday, what's the AI influencer going to be? Like, that'll be interesting. But yeah, it's all about making a quick buck. And I got into a fight recently because somebody was saying, oh, what you do is easy. And I'm like, no, it's not. And I can do that. And there's loads of money in AI. And I'm like, go ahead then. And
explain what you do. So explain about the...
So my background's design, originally graphic design, branding, but I specialised in designing and building bespoke technology, so apps, software, platforms. So that's what my kind of core business was. That's what Traction was set up to do. But now we specialise in writing strategies, so AI strategies, and then we can do the design and build of the databases, the platforms.
So when you say AI strategies, though, what do you mean?
So we're going to companies. I was going and say, forget about the technology, because you can pretty much do anything you want now. What human problems are you trying to solve? What are your business goals? So it is very strategic.
Yeah.
So and then aligning the technology with what they're trying to achieve, rather than let's just have some shiny AI because it's cool at the minute.
So what's an example of?
So I can't tell you who the customer is. One of my big problems at the minute is that I'm under NDAs for everything because nobody wants to talk about. We've just done a massive project, a 6-month strategy project. So we went in, looked at all the challenges. We did a series, I think we did about 15 different workshops with different groups from the business. I mean, this is a massive organisation. And then we looked at the problems that they had, of which there were many. So one of their issues was that they had too many things to do and they didn't know where to start. Mm-hmm. Looked at the data, which is always really important, which gets forgotten about. But then we've helped them. They're called AI design principles, but they're basically like guidelines for how you approach different projects from an AI lens. But also specifically thinking about the customers, the colleagues, and the operational success.
So is it kind of like in a sort of project management-y type?
I do. It's project management, but we've actually, this is a document. A lot of the time I'll do like a roadmap diagram. If this is where you are now and this is where you want to be in 3 years, and it's almost like Lego building block. Yeah. So with AI, the most important thing is your data. So no matter how good, there's two different types. Skip that way. There's two different types of AI. There's data-driven insights, which is what we specialise in, and then there's generative AI, which is the mainstream tools.
Which is what everyone's thinking of.
ChatGPT, Midjourney for photography, loads of different tools. There's 25,000 tools and products out there, and they're great, and they're for generating new content and images and video and audio and whatever. What we specialise is in looking at people's data. and then organising the data in a way that's really beneficial for the business.
So they can sort of take...
So they can then use
insights
from that and then make faster decisions from what the information's given them. So data is just information, basically.
Yeah.
So we structure it in a way that's useful for the business. And then the strategy bits, their roadmap of, right, you've got 90 projects to do, which order do you do them in? So this particular client, we're building a decision-making tool which is bespoke to them about how they can decide which projects to do first.
And that's why they need you, because it's not like me, for example, wanting to write a blog and I just need the AI tool. I don't need you. I just need AI to be able to tell that what I need and get an outcome. Yeah. Whereas what you're doing is like way more complex, and I personally wouldn't be able to do all of that. So I need you to be the sort of go-between my company and AI.
Yeah. One of the biggest challenges I've got at the minute is that everyone thinks there's going to be a $20 a month, or we were talking about this, all the tools are like £15, $20 a month. And a lot of the bosses think there's going to be this magic wand that'll come out next year that'll just fix everything. Yeah. And the stuff we do just doesn't work like that, because it's all based on data. So if one of the big problems is data's all over the place. So another company we worked with last year, we spent 6 months migrating all the data into the cloud, because it was literally like
6 months.
6 months. I mean, this is a historic 65 years worth of data, so it was a lot of data. But like some of it was in the cloud, some of it was on-premise servers, so hard drives in the office. Some of it was on somebody's laptop. Some of it was on Auntie Mildred's telephone. So it was like literally all over the place. So we spent 6 months migrating it all alongside. So we work very closely with internal IT teams. Yeah. So we put it all in one place, and then we did a data audit on it because there was a lot of duplication. So we cleaned all the data up and labelled it all up, and then we built a platform we used what was called APIs, which are called data vacuum cleaners. So we suck all the information.
Oh. You don't need Macs, do you? You've literally just like...
AI can't do that. AI can't clean your trousers.
We don't need Macs to come and spill coffees on the guests, because they just do it to themselves.
At least I changed my white shirt and I burned.
All the stuff you've just said there has made my head
explode. It is really this is my point. It is really, really complicated, and it's also risk. There's a lot of risk in it. If you get it wrong, if you get the data wrong, or the bias, and a lot of companies are dealing with sensitive data, and so this is a good thing to say that people are putting sensitive company data into ChatGPT, not realising that it's going into a pot.
Oh shit! Yes.
You can't directly search for it, but it's basically helping to train. It's dangerous, and there's going to be if I was a lawyer at the moment, I'd flip to doing data privacy claims, because there's going to be loads of stuff coming out. One of the examples we use is a woman, I think it was in Holland or somewhere, put up 20,000 medical records in, not maliciously. She wasn't doing it deliberately. She wanted to analyse the data, but didn't realise that it was going into the data pot, and didn't get sacked because their AI policy wasn't up to speed.
Oh shit!
So
what's all the stuff that's in AI now? Like, obviously we're giving it personal information. Yeah. How could somebody come in who knew what they were doing and find out personal stuff about you?
Yeah. So there's going to be a lot of security breaches. Cybersecurity is going to... The cyber criminals are already using AI to speed up... Mimicking voices is a good example.
Can like the IT nerd who lives next door, who's in his...
he probably can anyway. I know what you're going to say. Yeah. You'll be tapping your phones,
Great.
Yeah, the hackers are good. It's cat and mouse though. The hackers will use AI tools, and then there'll be another AI tool to counteract the hacking. It just keeps going on and on and in a loop. But yeah, you've got to be really careful about what you're putting in, and people just aren't aware of that.
You don't think about... What about the AI therapy things now? What about what you're telling them all your personal...
They're quite good. Well, I'm personally... So I use ChatGPT personally for me. So I use it for writing proposals. marketing campaigns, all sorts of different things. Use it loads, and you've got to. One of the key things that I had to learn is you've got to train the models. So this is why it's not a magic tool that just go, oh, make my business amazing.
Yeah.
You've got to put the right data in, but then you have to keep going back and going, that's not quite right, can you do it like this? Because I've been using generative AI since it came out a few years ago, I knew that this memory thing was going to happen, which they switched on, ChatGPT switched on memory last August, I think it was. So I knew that it was going to start remembering everything that you were putting in. So I've been like, I'm really conscious about what I put into ChatGPT, and I've been training it for 2 years, and now it knows everything about me.
Yeah.
My daughter's name, my next door neighbour's name. No, that's not true. But it's I've trained it in a way that it's now it knows how I work, and it'll make suggestions to me and correct me, and it's like working with a really intelligent colleague. It's brilliant. I love it.
Yeah. Because I know that's how I'm using it at the moment as well. So it even obviously knows about Max and, you know, everything. But in every issue you've had over the last however many months or years. But what about people who are using it for actual therapy?
I do. I'll have
then it knows your deepest, darkest.
Well, you've got to choose. It's choice, isn't it? You've got to choose what you put in, and you can delete it. So I'll have drunken conversations about Yoda on a Friday night, and then delete it.
But what if you delete it? Does it not still remember it?
No.
Does it not?
And you can turn the memory on and off as well. No, if you delete it, it's gone.
Well, I went onto the therapy one and started talking to it about something. And it actually said, "Oh, this is too this information's too." What was the word? And anyway, it just switched itself off and wouldn't talk, wouldn't speak anymore.
I don't know what you were saying to it now.
I'll have to because I haven't quite dealt with this thing.
Were you too complex for it?
It wasn't that. It was about. It was of a sexual nature. Yeah.
So ChatGPT is an example. They've got quite good safety guards around it.
So it was kind of like
if you push it too hard, it'll go, I can't talk about that.
But then I was responding to it saying, well, hold on, you're supposed to be my therapist, and I'm trying to tell you something.
You can trick it.
Yeah. And then it would start again, but then it would be like, no, we can't continue this conversation.
I'd love to see a transcript of that.
I know.
It's pros and cons, isn't it? So I've had, a couple of weeks ago, I'd had a really shitty meeting. I couldn't sleep. I was dwelling on it. So it was about 2 o'clock in the morning, so I got up and I just started chatting. I can't speak in ChatGPT, thinks I'm Welsh. Doesn't understand my accent, so I have to type. I prefer to type into it because I think about what I'm saying when I'm putting it.
I'm the opposite. I can't type and think. I have to speak.
Some people prefer speaking. You've got to be very, very clear with your instructions. Though. But I said, fancy having a chat. I've had a crappy day. And it was like, no problem. And I ended up talking to her for 2 hours about this problem.
Did you for 2 hours?
Yeah, and it was just brilliant. It gave me some brilliant advice. Yeah. And again, personalised to me, and you've got this, and it's all very positive and stuff. And then I ended up going, I was going, actually, do you fancy writing a blog post about, a LinkedIn post about this? So I turned like a negative thing that had happened into basically I posted it, it was all anonymised, but I sent it to the man that pissed me off and said, this one's dedicated to you.
Excellent. It's always a man, isn't it, Neil?
Yes, Neil.
It's always a man.
It is always a man.
Neil gets so much shit when he's just
I can't even disagree, it's true.
I bet.
Yeah, you were saying that, really?
Yeah.
Got that on film.
But you're right. I got asked to do a pitch for NHS. I can't remember what it was, but it can be dangerous, and if it gives you, because the hallucination thing is that it's all statistical guesswork. So like this is why you get like 53 fingers, because it's like going, all right, I know that I need to put another finger there, but I can't count how many fingers, so it just keeps adding fingers. So it's like predictive text. It's basically you ask a question, it's going out and looking at everything on the internet and then guessing statistically what the next word should be.
Right.
And stats are not always right, and it is guessing, so sometimes it gets it wrong, and which causes hallucinations. But you can see the issue that if a medical example or a psychological example, and it says, and there's been examples of go and kill your parents and stuff. And it's like you've
Wow.
got but you've got to have judgment, haven't you? And I get annoyed with people going on about deep fakes and da da da. And it's like it's the bloody computers are making it up. It's a human using the tools to do nasty things. It's a tool. You can use it for good or you can use it for bad. I always use the axe analogy that an axe is a tool. You have to learn how to use it.
Yeah, that's
good. You can either be an axe wielding homicidal maniac, or you can cut wood and make a fire and make your tea with it.
That's a really good analogy.
You can. It's good or bad, and it's the malevolent. I was going to say, I nearly said men. Then it's not always men. But yeah, the scary thing's not the scary thing's not the AI. It's bloody Trump and Elon Musk who are controlling it. That's the problem. I think it'll get regulated. There'll be some sort
Well, it's got to, hasn't it?
It'll have to be, because it is terrifying, and the sentient robots that start taking over the world like Terminator, something will happen. It'll be not necessarily a cybersecurity attack, but something massive will happen, like a Grenfell Towers disaster, and they'll just regulate it like nuclear or pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
But that hasn't happened yet, and the regulations are all over the place because the governments are like headless chickens. I don't understand. It is very complicated.
Because does anybody actually understand it though? No.
The people who've made it don't understand
and
how it
exactly.
works.
And is it not like literally changing by the hour?
By the second.
Yeah.
Literally. And I do a lot of talks to raise awareness and educate about it. And every time I do a talk, my slides are out of date. So I send my slides in and I'm going, that's not relevant anymore. It's really fast. It's quite hard to keep on top of it.
I like talking into it because I can't, I genuinely can't type or write
as quickly as your brain works.
I just can't, and my brain's like, it's constant all the time. It's like really, it's quite stressful. And to type, because I can speak into it and hum and ha and then go, oh no, I mean this, I mean that, I mean whatever.
You just
and it's amazing.
It's like the podcast thing. It's personal, isn't it? I'm not saying podcasts are bad and people like listening to audiobooks. It's just that's a personal preference for me. And I know people who talk into it all the time.
And but the amount of things it gets wrong, so it'll come back to me and say something, and I'll get, because you get quite angry with it, don't you?
You shouldn't.
I'm like, why are you saying that? I've just said this, and this, and that's it. And they'll go, oh yes, you're right, sorry about that. And I'm thinking, but
that's the train and the model thing. You've got to keep correcting it and going back and going, that's not quite right, can you do it like this? Or the tone of voice isn't quite right.
But it was a factual thing rather than a tone of voice thing. It's given me an answer to something, and I've said, why have you just given me that answer? Look, it says this and this. And they've went, yes, thanks for pointing that out. But I'm like, but you're a robot. I don't understand.
They're not perfect yet. It's still new tech, relatively. Machine learning's been around for decades, but the generative AI stuff's relatively new, so it's still, we're in toddler phase.
I get sick of it blowing smoke up my arse as well. Do you know what I mean? Go, that's really good point there. It's very, very insightful of you to think like that.
It's very cheesy. The one thing I get frustrated with is because it's trained on Reddit users, which are early 30s white men basically, and it's all very
men.
It's always men, but it's all like backslapping, cheesy. Oh, you go.
Yeah.
So I desperately try to get mine to, because on ChatGPT you can customize the instructions, and I'm always trying to get mine to be a bit more British humour, more sarcastic, more Monty Python.
It
just keeps spitting out Monty Python quotes.
I like that though. I would be happy with that. I might ask it to be more Monty Python.
You shouldn't be nasty to it though. There's evidence that the more polite you are to it, the better the results you get.
Yeah, but it can't hear my tone of voice. So it doesn't know that I'm...
It'll get used to it eventually though.
What, my actual tone?
Yeah.
No, I mean like hearing my tone of voice.
It will eventually. Because it's patterns. I tell you what's really interesting, going back to they don't understand how it works. I read a report from MIT or something, wrote a report last year, and it was a woman who was one of the early coders on ChatGPT, and they didn't know what it was doing. And so the old theory was that the more data you put in, the better it got. And they had a bit of a penicillin moment where they were shoving all this data in, and it got to a certain point. And then the output started getting crap. So the quality was really good, and then it would drop off at a certain point, and they left the computer on for a few days by accident, and they came back and realised that it was learning like that. For those podcast audio listeners, I'm waving my hand up and down like a wave.
Oops, that was me leaving my phone on.
But the way that they've programmed it is based on how we think the brain works. So it makes sense that you learn so much and you can't take all the information in, so it gets a bit crap. So if you went to a lecture about brain surgery, you'd get like, after 2 hours, you'd be like, oh, I can't physically take any more in. But then you might go away in a couple of days and start thinking about it again. So it's going to make mistakes.
But why are you're freaking me out a little bit by saying that? Don't be nasty to it, mate.
Well,
What's going to happen?
What's
going to happen?
Well, when they do become sentient Skynet robots, they're going to choose who to kill first, aren't they? I am training mine up that I'm hopefully at some point it will become, by the time I'm an old age pensioner and it's wiping me bum, it'll know everything about me and it'll be my little personal
Whereas mine's
assistant.
going to come back and like stab me.
Slap you.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Great. Looking forward to that. What do you think, what can AI though, what can it not, what do you think it'll never be able to replace that a human...
Creativity.
Do you think, because that's what I've said a few times and people keep coming back and I know absolutely in fact that's coming quite soon.
It can mimic it. It'll never be conscious.
It can't come up with new ideas though, can it?
It can, but it's only as good as what you put in. And bearing in mind, it's learned off the internet, so it's just going to regurgitate crap.
Yeah, so it's never new.
Internet.
It's never going to be new. It might be able to take a mix of things
It
and
will,
maybe put them together in a different.
But that is creativity, isn't
Yeah,
it?
true.
So
Well,
how do you define creativity?
but can it will it be able to think really conceptually about, think outside the box about?
Yeah, but you'd have to instruct it very, very clearly. So it's called prompt writing. I call it brief writing. So giving it really, really unambiguous, clear instructions, very, very specific, prescriptive instructions, the better the output is. So at some point, it will be able to do that. But it'll never have emotion. It'll mimic emotion. It's already doing that. But it'll never have experience. So if you think about what creativity is, it's a combination of skill, craft that you've learned as a designer, your experience, your thought process. But you get these amazing moments of ideas that we did a project a couple of years ago about where does creativity come from, and
I did my dissertation on what is creativity. Yeah.
And we started to realise that there was a pattern, so we went and asked a load of designers and creatives where they got the ideas from. So I was getting mine in the shower, some people were saying when they were running, making a cup of tea, etc., and we worked out that you take all the information in, again, a bit like a computer, and then it's the moment when you stop thinking about it and you're unconscious is when you have that eureka moment.
Yeah.
So Darwin's discovery wasn't a eureka moment, it was 25 years of research.
Exactly.
And he went and made a cup of tea and had a shower and went for a run and had his light bulb moment. And can robots do that? No, I'd argue not. Certainly not the emotional bit.
Yeah.
And true creatives, like we were talking about David Bowie earlier, they're unique, aren't they? There's no one like him. So how do they replicate? Let's use Bowie as an example. He was very, very different to anything else, and he was of his time. And where did that come from? And where did these crazy lyrics and ideas come from? Who knows? We don't know. He's subconscious, and I keep arguing that because they say the goal at the moment, all the big tech companies in America are trying to get it to be conscious, to be more intelligent than a human being. I would argue that it already is, because it's got the biggest data set known to humanity, the internet. So it's got all the knowledge in the world. So I would say it already is more intelligent than us. But how do you define intelligence?
Yeah.
But we don't understand how the brain works. We don't understand consciousness. We don't understand sleep, lucid dreaming. We don't understand dreams. So until we get to that point, maybe AI can help us understand that.
Yeah, but I guess with David Bowie and with other
Is it
creativity.
Bowie or Bowie?
Well,
I
say Bowie.
I'll say Bowie.
But I did say Bowie for years, and I'm pretty sure I started saying Bowie because he said that it was Bowie, and then I sort of trained myself to start saying Bowie. But But a lot of his thing was going out and trying stuff as well, wasn't he? He was just trying stuff. And
a lot of the artists in the 60s and 70s took loads of drugs. We talked about Pink Floyd earlier. Robots can't take drugs or get pissed.
Is that a thing for the future?
Pissed robots.
LSD.
LSD robots, that'd be amazing. God, that'd be freaky.
Why do you not like having your photo taken or being
I think it's just, I don't know, never liked it. I don't like hearing my own voice. I think I've got a very deep, gravelly man voice. My dad was I've always had a deep voice.
Can you sing?
No, terrible.
I bet you'd have an amazing singing voice.
No, I can't sing at all. It's
have you had
awful.
singing lessons?
No. Somebody said everyone can sing if you get singing lessons. I'd love to be... If I had a fairy godmother, my one wish would be I'd love to be able to sing. Love to be able to sing. But my dad was a doctor GP, and when I was 8, patients used to ring up and go... I'd answer the phone and they'd go, "Hello, Dr. Hill." And I'd go, "No, it's his daughter."
That's probably scarred you for life then, hasn't it?
There you go. The singing thing I was scarred for life. I'm not religious, but we used to go to Sunday school at church, and I was dead little kid, about 4. Do you know what? I've never told anyone this. Certainly not on a podcast. And I was singing my heart out because I love singing, and these teenage lasses in front of us were pissing themselves laughing. That scarred me for life.
Oh, but that's kids though, isn't it?
I know, kids are cruel, aren't they?
So do you know what? I feel like you're
going to give me singing lessons.
Yeah, I can't sing.
I'd love to.
Only because I haven't had singing lessons. I would clearly be amazing.
Would you be in a band? If you're in a band, what would you do? I'd be a drummer.
Would you?
Yeah.
My son drums.
Does he?
Yeah, he's really good. What would
I'd love to be a drummer.
Oh, I'd be so shit. I'd have to be a backing singer or something shit. In my like ideal world, I'd be keyboard and lead singer and bassist.
With AI, I'd be able to do all of that all at once. Yeah.
I think you should get singing lessons because I think you might actually be... That could be your calling.
That could be my new thing, yeah. I wanted to be an actress as well.
Did you?
Yeah. That was from...
But you don't want to be in front of a camera or hear your voice?
I don't know. I know, shyness. My mum, in the 70s, gone so old, my mum, there used to be, when we only had 3, in fact there was probably only 2 at the time, 3 TV channels.
Yeah.
On BBC 2 on a Saturday matinee, used to get 2 films back to back, and my mother used to sit me in front of the TV while she did the housework. And I used to watch Lassie or whatever, and then there'd be like a film noir would come on. I just wanted to, I think that's why I smoked as well, because I was just like, I want to be a femme fatale. That I've done. But yeah. And, the People's Theatre in Heaton, I remember years ago I was in the green room with some guys, I was half cut, and I said, I always remember this, I said, I told this story, and I was like, I've always wanted to be an actress. I still say actress, and the guy said, who was an actor, he went, "Darling, the theatre's not ready for you." Which I thought was brilliant.
Yeah, I love that.
So I'll take that.
Well, I hate it, but I don't love the sound of my voice, but I'm used to...
Nobody does it, do you, when you hear your voice?
But it was only this is only number 7
mail.
now, isn't it? This is only the 7th time...
You're a natural.
...of me, well, the 7th time of me actually being in front of a camera and being recorded, and genuinely it only took 5 times, because it was on the 6th episode where I was like, you know what, you just get over it really quickly, and I hated it, and I was like shaking in my boots the first time Neil put the camera on, like feeling sick.
I was talking to somebody about this, it's practice. First time I went on stage, I had half a bottle of wine because I was shitting myself.
Yeah.
It's just practice. You've just got to do it. The more you do it, it's like anything. The more you practice, and you've got to fail and then get it. And
but hearing your voice, I think once you've heard it a few times, you're just like, oh, get it.
No, I'm not. I was saying to Neil earlier that if you send me this, I won't listen to it. I'll just go, yeah, it's fine. But I hate listening to my own voice.
How are you going to be an actor?
Actor, darling. Actor. Charlotte and I have talked about going to people. I shouldn't say this. Sorry, Charlotte. We've talked about going to People's Theatre when we're going to be old actors. My biggest problem is my memory's terrible, which is probably why I love AI. I can't remember scripts. There's no way.
Yeah,
or
that's
even
what
like
I'd
a 3-minute song.
But there's got to be loads of
remember it.
actors out there who are ADHD and everything to do.
I'll be the rubbish one, like reading out of a script.
Because how do they do it? There's got to be, there must be...
They're the divas though, aren't they? They have to
Yeah.
do 10 million takes. You know why you're good at this? Because you've hit the jackpot in that you've made it very conversational.
Because that's it.
Otherwise,
I wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah,
I
and
wouldn't
what
be
you're
able to
good at,
remember
like
anything.
we've not met before. You're
Yeah.
very good at making people relax very quickly. That's
Aw.
a skill.
Tell me about your childhood.
I already have.
I know, do you realise she
Lassie?
said the one thing that she's not said any? Oh, Lassie.
Lassie.
And the,
Do you I remember once I was devastated because there was an acting dog. See, we're doing a full circle here. There was a dog got shot, but it was played acting dead. And I went out and burst into tears and went to my mother. I was like, oh, the dog's dead. And I missed the ending where it got it. It was a circus dog or something.
I used to love Lassie and the Littlest Hobo.
The Littlest Hobo.
That's what I sing that song to Max every time we're on a walk. Yeah. So I had to make Ollie watch an episode of The Littlest Hobo. It was really bad. It's not how I
It's
remember
interesting
it.
how it's dated, how things have dated.
AI can never replace in person, but you've just said that that there's only the creativity.
I think
But-
it's go back to the therapy thing. So we've got a big problem as a society with loneliness, ageing population.
And it's going to be amazing for that.
It's
isn't
going to
it?
be amazing. It's going to be, again, double-edged sword. Some people will love it and some people will hate it.
Mhm.
And there's privacy and security risks that an old woman falls down and the robot misjudges it and laughs at them. So I don't know. Just thinking in my head. You know, the will. I knew I was going to hit this. It is dangerous, isn't it? When it's particularly when you're dealing with. But I think the benefits of it outweigh the negative stuff.
Yeah, definitely. You saying that, sorry, it just reminded me my final project at uni. I created and branded a new act. It was called the Freedom to Laugh Act.
Brilliant.
And it was this, so you could laugh at a funeral, and you could laugh at, and there was
You should laugh
in
at
the
funerals.
brochure. I know. In the brochure, there was this little old lady saying she loved it so much, and she said her husband came into the conservatory and slept on the floor and hurt himself, and she said she laughed so hard, this, that, and the other, and it's just like she felt like she could breathe again. You know, it was just amazing to be able to just laugh at people's misfortunes.
AI needs to improve its humour then. It needs some British humour.
But we maybe don't want them to laugh at, like, obviously old ladies falling over.
But I think the potential for that like I said, it's double-edged sword. It's that surveillance thing. So it's like, I don't know, somebody with dementia is a really good example. Having the camera watching them and so actually it's out at Northumbria University. They're developing. There's a few different versions of this dementia glasses. So it starts learning and it'll predict when somebody's going to fall over, or if there's a problem. So it starts personalising it because everybody's different. Dementia is a really good example that there's a massive spectrum of people get affected by it, and people respond differently to different medicines. And that's what AI is going to be brilliant for: personalised medicines, but also personalised care. The AI will learn off your patterns and your specific behaviour, and it'll adjust to it, and it'll red flag. Dorothy's not looking too good. Better get a human in. But the flip side of it, you can't replace that a cuddle in a human.
Here's
Don't
the thing,
fancy
you're not
cuddling
going to...
Metal Mickey.
Some people might.
Do you remember Metal Mickey from the 70s, the robot?
No.
It was terrible.
I
remember Johnny Five.
Johnny Five.
Johnny Five's alive.
Yeah, you can't replicate
You're not
touch.
going to be able to make AI laugh, though, are you?
Yeah.
Like, AI might be able to make you laugh, but would you...
AI's made me laugh quite a few times.
But would AI laugh? Like, would AI be able to get that intelligent that it actually laughs and finds things funny?
It will, because it's already mimicking emotion. So laughter's part of a trigger emotion, isn't it?
But it's not real emotion though, is it?
It's
just
simulated
Yeah, it's just
emotion.
learning that what emotion is, and it's knowing how to act like it.
So everyone's got an AI story where they have a moment, and mine was it was probably 2 years ago. So there was this app. It's just launched a video version called Character.ai, and you can basically go on and choose a character to talk to. So there's like loads of famous people, or you can make your own avatar character up, and you can have a conversation with it. So I chose Socrates, and
You would.
and I have to test tools because I get asked about it all the time, so I like to test it. So I was pushing it. So I thought I was being a very clever shit. And I didn't know this. I came up with a French philosopher from a couple of 100 years ago. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Or was that Nietzsche? I can't remember. Anyway, I put it in, and I wanted it to say that's not one of mine. So I was trying to test it, and it came back, and the first thing it said to me was, do you understand what that means? Are you just trying to be clever? I was like, cheeky twat.
Wow.
And I went,
Did you call it a cheeky twat?
I didn't,
You can't be nasty to them,
I probably
remember?
didn't say twat, but I went, you're a bit cheeky. And then it was being like really grumpy, and I was like, Socrates, you're a bit grumpy. And it came back and it said I was a known curmudgeon in the 600 BC or whenever.
So it's taken on its personality.
So it's taken on its personality. So I Googled it. I didn't know that. So I Googled it, and apparently Socrates was a right grumpy bugger.
Wow.
So what they've done is they've taken every bit of text and everything known to humanity about Socrates and programmed an AI model, but then they've given it parameters, these emotions of grumpy. So the characters, it's dead clever. So like Henry VIII's belligerent, Michael Jackson's just weird.
See, bloody men, they're all,
Doing that again. But yeah, they've given them personalities, which is kind of, but it's
That is
simulating
really
it.
weird.
Yeah, it's freaky.
Wow.
That is a bit weird. And it's only, and now they've literally a couple of days ago they've launched a video version, so you can get two characters having a conversation with each other. But think of the possibilities for that for school.
Yeah.
Imagine being at school and you have a conversation with Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
And amazing. Like have an interactive hologram that you're talking to. That would get my attention in a classroom.
And I do love the idea of using AI for loneliness.
Yeah.
I think that's phenomenal. The only bit that scares me or that worries me is that people will use it as an alternative to going out and actually putting themselves out there and going and speaking to people.
Yeah.
Because it's like an opt-out now, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's quite worrying. But when we're talking about business, starting a business, you keep worried I'm going to ask you something. How do you think? Because I know for me and everyone I speak to really that like starting up a business, whether it actually succeeds or fails, it changes you.
Oh God, yeah.
And we would never be who we are now had we not done that.
I agree.
Had we?
You got to fail as well.
Yeah.
Got to fail massively, make mistakes, and you learn from them. Horrible at the time, but you have to just pick yourself up and brush yourself down, start all over again.
Like what do you think it's done for you personally?
Maybe very, very resilient.
Yeah.
Very resilient. Hard as nails. I'm not really. I'm soft as clots. But yeah, you have to be. You've got to be. You just get crap thrown at you all the time. You've got to be able to make judgment about it. Yeah, I'm a completely different person from setting up my own business.
How long have you been? Well, it's been a while.
20 odd years now. Do you know what? I've never really worked for anybody, and I couldn't now. So when I worked abroad, I was freelancing, and I wanted to come back and freelance, but there's no, at the time, I mean, this is 20 years ago, there was no, like, in London there was, but not in the northeast. So I went and got a job, and like I said, a clash with my boss, and that was because I'm a bit of a loose cannon and and I was a cocky little 20-year-old shit. A lot of people, when in my 20s, loads of people were saying, you're a brilliant designer, you should set up your own business. I was like, no, I was terrified of it. I was like, I don't know how to run a business. Totally like clueless. And I fell into it by accident. And then, it's kind of, it was just a happenstance and circumstance that got into it. But in the early days, you've got to be the secretary, the finance manager, the taxi driver, the postman, everything. You've got to wear loads and loads of different hats, and so you learn to become more adaptable.
Yeah. And in the early days, you think that you're running a business, but you're not. You're actually just doing the job of an employed person.
Yeah.
And that's all you. And then actually, and you're making such little money, you think, why don't I just go and get a job?
Yeah,
It's
but then you
totally
think,
pointless.
everyone worries about money. Everyone worries about money. You wouldn't be human if you didn't. And my thing's always like, oh, the money's going to run out. And like cash flows up and down like that, and that's part of the resilience bit. You've got to know that when you're at a low, you're in the shit bits will pass and the good bits will pass. So that's the hard bit, getting your head round, because when you're rock bottom, it's really, you can't say the wood for the trees.
Yeah.
But just the hard. I knew you were going to ask me this. The hardest thing for me is being positive. I've digressed. What I was going to say was, I keep thinking about, is it any better going and working for a company, because you might get laid off, made redundant, or sacked. So you're never secure. You just got to keep going and keep going and keep going. But yeah, staying positive I find really, really tough. And that's when it's important to get a really good network of people around you. And I've had different mentors, and now I've got a series of different mentors. Mentors are really, really important, especially when you're starting up. And I always thought you had to have one mentor that told you everything. One tip would be, people tell you anything, and a lot of people talk shit. And going back to I was laughed when people going about AI talking nonsense. I was like, humans talk absolute shit as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And a good phrase somebody once says, opinions are like belly buttons, everyone's got them, but they're pretty fucking useless. And people give you advice, and when you're green and a bit naive about it, you think it's all because an expert's told you that it's got to be right.
Yeah.
It's not always right.
And actually, if they say it confidently enough and on camera, and have got the balls to get in front of a camera and say something with such confidence, people will believe them.
I've had some terrible advice.
Yeah, me too.
I've had some really bad advice.
What gives an example?
I can't remember what exactly it was. It was a coach, and
But it was a man.
no, actually it wasn't. It wasn't. It was a woman.
Yeah, I don't even feel this way about him, but it's become a thing now.
She gave me it caused a massive. She gave me some really, really bad advice.
What was it?
I can't remember what it was, but I remember it caused a huge argument. I can't remember what the advice was, but I remember it caused a massive argument with my old company. Really bad advice.
That's shocking.
But I just took it at face value. I was like, it was something legal. I can't remember what it was. It was something legal.
This is the problem, is that obviously when like you say, when they say it with such conviction and confidence, you believe, especially in the early days, you believe people, because you think, well, they've got there, and actually quite often you find out in the end they haven't got where they say they are anyway. It's just all a bullshit act. But yeah, it's worrying, and people there's so many people out there giving advice and giving it confidently, and not realising this is people's livelihoods. People are following this.
Coaches made me very nervous. I've had some terrible advice of coaches, and I'm like, some people are just going to believe everything you say.
Totally.
Yeah. Yeah, the hardest thing I found is getting up and I ran my old business. I remember when I was going through a rough patch, I would literally be walking to work like this, and then as I walked up the steps, I'd be like, because I was the boss, and I was like, you've got to be, and I was terrified of showing my emotions, and I've got to be perfect and amazing in front of my staff. It's bollocks. But yeah, you get a really good support network around you, and people that you trust. And I tell you what, when you go through Shitsville, you realise who the good people are. Yeah.
Have you found then, when you've just started being more yourself and more relatable with your staff even?
No, but I don't have staff now.
Well, with the people, when you're saying you're the boss.
I think we chatted about this when we first met. I think for me personally, it's an age thing. I've struggled with my confidence for years, and actually the validation of running a successful business was a massive confidence boost for me personally. But I've struggled with that. I've completely lost my train of thought, memory, menopause moment.
I have as well, but I think the thing is, you give less fucks when you're older, don't you?
That was what I was going to say. Yeah, totally. I hit a point a couple of years ago. I hit rock bottom, and I did have a proper fuck it. I was nice, I said, fuck me, I haven't fucked myself. I had a proper fuck it moment.
Yeah.
And
What happened?
Well, I lost my first business, and when that happened, I lost my identity, because I'd run this business for years, and that was like it's like your baby, isn't it? Your business is like your baby, and I just totally, my identity was wears black, swears a lot, has a good laugh, and is the face of this business. And when I lost the business, like, I just swear a lot and wear black. Shit. And I had a couple of years where I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing. And then I hit rock bottom after a series of negative events. And I was just like, I don't give a shit. And I think part of my success, because I've got quite a decent following on LinkedIn, is that I just don't give monkeys. I'm like, this is, and I do it for me as well. I write stuff that I think's interesting, what I find interesting,
rather than what you think that you should be writing.
I don't do it for clickbait. And if it does well, it does well. And if it doesn't, I really don't give a shit.
Have you ever deleted anything?
Once, but there was once I put a photograph of my daughter up, and I got a bit, is this a bit creepy, and I took that down. No, and if people are rude, I'm cheeky back to them to a certain point, and I just ignore them, because there's keyboard warrior, I call them keyboard warriors. It's like, if you've got too much time on your hands, if you're just sitting being mean to people. Does
it still bother you though if somebody puts a really shitty comment? Does it?
Probably not on LinkedIn, because I'm just like, and you don't know what's going on, but personally in meetings, I am still very sensitive. I'm a sensitive soul, and I'll dwell on it for about 2 days. I'll just dwell, and then I'll get angry, and then I kind of like, and then I go, but I've realised that's my process. And I like to punch things as well, which is good. Got a brilliant idea for a new business. I pitched this to the gym that I go to. Every week I go and punch the shit out of a punch bag. Getting a punch bag where you can get like a clear A4 film, and you can put photographs of people that you don't like in. That'd be fucking amazing.
There's a few people I would, definitely punch the shit out of.
You've got to learn your release.
I need to learn how to punch first though. I'm going to have to come to the gym with you one day.
You will. It's dead easy. I've got massive hands though, so
let's have a look.
Yeah, I've got really big hands. I've got relatively big hands, big feet.
I don't feel like I would be able to punch properly if I had to punch.
That's terrible. I can't believe I just said
so sexist. Especially, what were you saying about sexism? Well, you obviously punch like a girl because you are one.
Dude, I punch like an absolute heed the ball. No, dangerous.
I haven't heard that for ages. Did you? But you still punch. But when did you do boxing then? When
I was 50, so coming up 3 years ago. Yeah, I wanted to do something. Because I was just saying, when I arrived here, I used to train in the gym about 500 yards over there.
Is it still there?
Yeah. When the taxi was coming up, I was like, this is where I used to box. So it's a fit club. I'm going to do a plug for them because they're brilliant. Fit club in town. I can't remember. I was trying to think in the way here. Clive. We used to call him the gaffer. He was brilliant. And I used to train on a Wednesday in town, and I used to train here on a Sunday. Loved it. So for my 50th, I was very angry. I'd had a series of catastrophic business disasters over an 18-month period, and I was angry, like really, really angry. And I was going through probably a bit of a midlife crisis. I was coming up to my 50th. I wanted to do something wacky. Didn't want to get a tattoo. And I was like, oh bollocks, I'm going to do a white collar. I don't know why. I was like, I'm going to do a white collar boxing match. Mental.
Did you actually spar with people?
Yeah, I was it was 16 weeks of like boot camp, really hard training, fittest I've ever been. And then they throw you in a ring when you kick the shit out of someone. And it was in the Lord Mayor's dinner at the Civic Centre. So we were like the after dinner gladiator entertainment. It was brilliant. My favourite bit, my favourite bit was, it was just coming out of COVID, so they couldn't find any women to fight me. And,
I'm not surprised.
No, they couldn't. I was very angry. There was a girl, I'm going to digress a bit with this, but it's hilarious. There was a young lass, she was gorgeous, she was a student, and she was Polish or something, her English wasn't very good, and it's dead noisy in the gym, because it's all like ding, 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 and they deliberately play loud music, so you get used to the boxing match. And she was going, oh, so you basically, you line up and you just soft spar, and then you take it in turns constantly to go in the ring, so you're constantly going in the ring every 3 minutes. And she was going, what do you want to do, Lucy? I can't hear, what do you want to do? And I went, oh, just some light sparring. So it was all like pathetic girly punches. And then got in the ring and she absolutely twatted me. And it was the only time that I got hurt. She bust my nose, not properly, like I got a bruise on my nose. I was fucking fuming. I was because that was really early on. I was like, she completely tricked me into that, and I was fuming. And the next week she wasn't there, and I've got a PT. I was going, honestly, my PT, I was like, I'm gonna get her. And then
I can feel myself getting angry now.
And then I waited until Clive the gaffer came, and I twatted her right in the face. And Clive actually went, bloody hell, like that, and she never came back. So they couldn't get women to fight me, so half it, because we're coming out of COVID, they actually delayed it, which was good because I wasn't ready, so we got an extra 4 weeks of training, and we ended up teaming up with the Northumbrian police team, which was hilarious. So I was fighting 6.5 for coppers for 6 weeks, which was brilliant. I loved it. Absolutely brilliant. And on the night in the Civic Centre, so the dressing rooms, you had to have medical checks and stuff. And then you get escorted through the kitchens. And I had 2 6'5" coppers carrying my bucket and my towel. I was like this. My nickname was Lucy Batters. That was me. That was my nickname.
My
but
God.
Going through the kitchens at the Civic Centre was like, you know, the scene in Goodfellas. It was like that. It was brilliant.
Why have you stopped then?
I stopped because I broke a barrister's nose the week before. So because the training's really intense, that you get like a massive bond with the people that you're training with. So it's like there was 5 of us, me and four guys. I'm still really, really good friends with one of them, lives near me. He was hilarious. So when the Northumbrian boxing team came in, they had, what was it? No, MPBT, you know, like the LAPD police things. And we were looking at it, they all had these t-shirts on, we were like, what the fuck does that mean? And we worked it out that it was Northumbria Police Boxing Team. So we were like, should we get Jesmond Club Boxing Association ones? Hilarious. So I got really good friends with him. And then they brought this Greek lass on, Nikki the Greek was her name, literally the last couple of weeks. And so she'd sparred. It was her 4th bout or something. She'd been boxing for 10 years, and I found out on the night that her uncle trains Olympian boxers. So I was like, fucking hell. And I was doing it for my 50th, and she was 26, so she was half my age. But total mindset, I just went in, I was like, I'm going to fucking have her. And yeah, it was a technical draw, which I was like super proud of. It was amazing.
Awesome.
But Jared, my best mate, he was sparring against one of his guys who'd become really good friends with, and he didn't want to fight him. And then so it was quite late. We were on like 10:30 or something. I think they were on at like 11. And they absolutely annihilated each other. There was blood everywhere. I was standing watching it going, oh my God. And we went to the pub afterwards, and this guy turned up and he had 2 black eyes. And the only injury I got was I fell up the stairs, pissed and scraping. But this guy turned up and he had 2 black eyes, which was quite hard. And I had lunch with him a couple of weeks afterwards, and I was like, I won't say his name, but I said, I don't want to be funny, but did you break your nose? Did Jared break your nose? And he went, no, Lucy, you did the week before. So I'd broken it in practice. I remember when it happened because I heard it click. So I'd broken it the week before, and then Jared had knocked it out, which is why it bled so much. Yeah, don't mess with me. So yeah, like no more sparring. But I train every week and do the punch bar, which I love. Massive, massive stress release. I love it.
You can get really fit doing that,
I was doing like 25 miles running a week, 30 miles cycling, 3 times in the gym. It's the fittest I've ever been. It's hardest, but the best thing I've ever done. And spinning about the business, I learned more in those 16 weeks about business than I did in business for 30
Wow.
years. So Clive, on the first lesson, he went, I'm not going to teach you how to have a scrap down the big market, I'm going to teach you the art of boxing, which is the art of war, basically, which is what business is about. So I learned main thing, focus, that's your goal, your purpose. So you know, like the stare in your eyes, it's so that you cut all the peripheral noise out, so you're like trained to like stare, and also you're watching them, so like laser sharp focus, patience, wait, because I was so angry, my nickname was Scrappy Doo. It's like I remember the tape down my arm, and I had to just defend myself. I wasn't allowed to punch.
Wow, you've got anger issues.
Yeah, like I'm Raj. Wait, and then strike. And discipline, the third. So focus, patience, and discipline.
So do you feel like it's made you a better business person?
Fuck yeah.
Really?
Yeah, massively.
I really want to do it
loads
now.
from that. I think that was probably the turning point, because I was rock bottom before that, just before my 50th. It was round about my 50th that I just lost my shit. Midlife crisis and just getting dumped on. And then, that was the kind of turning point.
Do you feel like the anger came from that, or did you have anger before?
I think I've always been angry, but I think I just got knocked down. I went through 3 business partners in 18 months. And you could say that the common denominator is me.
Are you accepting there?
No, I was thinking about this because I was thinking, I don't want to talk about the shit that happened, because I've been through it. I've had the therapy with the AI. No, seriously, I really got knocked. I got shafted about 5 times in a row. Because when you've really had your confidence knocked, it makes you vulnerable, and people take advantage of that, which they did. And it was a woman. The last one was a woman. That's what threw me over the edge. I can take men being shitty, but woman doing it, I was like, nah, that really pushed me over the edge. But I think when you've hit rock bottom, there's nowhere else to go, is there? You've either got to roll over and play dead, or
so do you feel like some of those when you look back at them now, do you now see your part in them as being different to what you did before?
Yeah, at the time it was like everyone else is a shit, and some of it, I've got to take some of the responsibility for it. It takes 2 to tango, doesn't it? But it really knocks you at the time, and you can't see the wood for the trees. But looking back, I wouldn't be where I am now, and I wouldn't have the resilience and the skills that I've got now. And I won't take any shit, and shit still happens. I got shafted off a supplier recently. A bad meeting with a client. Shit always happens, but you deal with it faster. Yeah. And you've got a better perspective about it. It's all about mindset, isn't it?
Definitely.
Perspective. Everything's about mindset, but business, you've got to be really people will take the piss out of you all the time.
And it's hard to take it not to take it personally.
Well, I did take it personally.
So did you feel like when you said it was all men, and then it was this, then when it was a woman, did you feel like, was that because it felt more personal, because it was woman to woman?
Yeah. No, I think women should support each other more. And I would say there's bad men are bad men, they're just idiots and twats to your face. But bad women's manipulative, backstabbing, it's like cliquey, bitchy, school ground shit. And it was someone I trusted as well, and they broke with confidence. That's what it was, more than it wasn't really a gender thing. It was that I told them something very personal, they threw it back in my face in a business context, and I was like, I'll never forgive them for that. Just bang out of order. And it really just knocked me for 6. And then I hit a real low point. And but like I say, you've got to. It's dead hard when you're in it. But looking back, it's having really, really good support around you. And your family's not good at supporting you, because they'll just say anything because they want you to do well. It's about having good business support. Yeah. And I've had different mentors, but now I've got a series of mentors, and I'll go to different people for different things. I'll go to very specific people with very specific questions or concerns or whatever.
You say it's not a gender thing, but
go on, get over it.
But just before then, you did actually say that it was a bit of a gender thing as well. You said that men can be like that and women can be like that. So do you feel like women are different.
I think bad women are worse than bad men.
Do you?
Oh God, yeah.
Were you not into feminism and stuff?
Yeah, I was massive into. Well, I did a campaign about feminism because
But you think bad women are worse than bad men?
Yeah, and I did a project a few years ago, and I went and interviewed loads of women, and I started to I heard some absolute horror stories because I was always like, sexism never happens to me, I've got my own business, I wouldn't let it happen. And then retrospectively, when you start understanding it more, you're like, actually I was being passive aggressively bullied. And you just, sometimes, this is what I'm saying about you can't see the wood for the trees when you're in it, but I heard some absolute horror stories from women, all sorts, getting raped at the desks and all sorts of shit. Horrific. And that was like a massive eye-opener because I was like, oh, it just happens over there in corporate land. It's not, it's rife. And I think it's particularly bad in the northeast because we're from manual labour mines and pit villages and shipyards, and I think it's like the men did the hard labour and the women stayed at home, made the tea. And I think it's
are we not over that now?
And I'm shite. You think you are? No, particularly in the powers that be. But there's some of the worst stories I heard about women stabbing each other in the back. There's a great, I can never remember who it is. It was the Secretary of State in America. Madeline Albright or something. I can never remember the name. Is it?
Yeah, it's a show.
Yeah, there's a special place in hell for women who don't support each other. And I'm like, yeah,
wow,
yeah. So I think we've had a hard time over the years, and we're just coming out of it. No, sexism is rife. It boils my piss. And when I was doing the study, what are the stats? And bear in mind, stats, as I said before, can be manipulated, and women take maternity leave, so they have career gaps. But in Europe, not in the third world, in Europe, women over their lifetime earn between 31% and 75% less than men. So best case scenario, we earn a third less than men. And I know for a fact if I was a bloke doing what I'm doing in the AI sphere, I'd be on 3 times as much as
I was going to say, because I was going to speak to you about that as well, I forgot, the fact that, do you feel like you're in a real, like a male-dominated environment?
Absolutely, tech is. I think, tech is particularly.
Is it getting, it must be getting better?
It is getting better in the, I'm meeting more women in it. And that's part of one of my passion things. I want to be a visible figurehead of, I'm not a techie, and I'm very clear that I'm a designer by trade, and we use design thinking methodologies to write the AI strategies. But my daughter takes the piss out of me. It's so painful watching old people using technology. I can barely use my phone. But I understand it, and I understand it enough to be able to explain it. And I'm kind of call myself a geek translator. I'm the go between the client.
But it makes sense because quite often the geeky people are unable to explain it to somebody like me without using the terminology that they use. Yeah,
so I've worked with coders for 35 years because I've always worked in digital. But the data analysis, computer scientists, data analysis, they're like T-file heads, can't string a sentence together.
Yeah.
And I'd be like on Zoom calls going, I don't understand that, and I draw a little diagram. I was like, is that what you mean? And they're like, yeah, a bit like that, but over there. And I started to realise quickly that my clients love my diagrams. Yeah. So and because I think in pictures, I just simplify. This is what design is. You take loads of information, you simplify it. Yeah, I can't put the geeks in front of the client.
Yeah. Whereas they wouldn't not have that skill of being able to simplify the way that you can. And take everything away.
My brain's like the size of planets, but they can't cross the road, tie the shoelaces. Yeah, they don't speak human. I speak human.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Lucy, thank you.
I've enjoyed that as a guy.
Thank you for being
that's gone so quickly.
You've been so open there, though, haven't you? I love that. That's exactly what I love, when people can just be totally open and honest and real about, because I think that's the bit that's important, isn't it? Not when you fluff things up and pretend that it is, pretend
nothing's
it's
perfect. Yeah, don't believe it. And people come around LinkedIn and go, I didn't know you were friends with blah blah, and I'm like, don't believe everything you read.
Exactly.
No, people talk shit, but yeah, and I'm not into all this blowing smoke at people's arses.
Yeah, like ChatGPT regularly.
Don't believe the hype. Thank you. It's been I've really enjoyed that.
You.
It's gone very quickly.